Hello friends, welcome back to another off-the-cuff ramble with me, FPL Mez. It's game week 14 and we have midweek matches, so it's going to be a very short video for me to share with you how my game week 13 went. I'm still in the top 4K, but also to do my team selection for game week 14 and some early transfer plans for game week 15 even. They're coming very fast, so grab your drinks and snacks and enjoy the episode. Wow, so game week 14 has come around really quickly and I've barely had the time to absorb everything that went on in game week 13. Not really had a chance to watch many of the matches. I've caught some of the highlights, not been able to listen to much content either because, it's game week 14 deadline so quick. And so for us over here in Australia, game week 14 deadline is going to be early hours of Wednesday morning. And I thought I wasn't even actually going to do a video or a podcast for game week 14, given it was midweek. However, I thought I may as well do a really quick one and share some of the predicaments I have. And if you have any suggestions in the short time that we have to connect, you can let me know in this video. And as I've mentioned in my previous videos and streams as well, I love receiving your comments and suggestions and any feedback that you can provide me as well. So please do leave me a comment. I'll always respond to you. So I really do appreciate some of that engagement. And I think this week the hot topic has been Brian Mbeumo, and so he's on my thumbnail, whether I keep Brian Mbeumo or not. Who are some of the replacements that we could be considering as well? I'm not going to go through a lot of stats and a lot of data. There's some really good YouTube videos out there, but also good podcasts and content where if you're looking for data and stats, I'm just going to be talking about my specifically game weeks and team and what I'm thinking with game week 14 and 15 coming up, and what my replacements would be that suits, I guess, my team, my season as well. So so let's jump into it. I'll talk about my game week 13 first, and I'll always start off with going into game week 13. These are some of the thoughts that I had. So my pre-game week thoughts were, do I captain Salah? Do I captain Palmer? Do I captain Saka? Because my transfers this game week were Dibbling to Saka and Haaland to Jackson. Now, I spent a fair bit of time thinking about my forward pick there. So I decided to go with Jackson over Isak. Both of them, I was thinking about for a very long time with an outside pick of Watkins as well, given Villa has some good fixtures coming up as well. But I decided to go with Jackson. And it was a bit of a daunting feeling, taking Haaland out. And that too, I did that on a live stream as well. So I've never done that before where I've made my transfers during a live stream. But I think I was pretty determined and adamant about making those transfers and, what was good for my team as well going into game week 13. And so, look, I'm really happy with the transfers that I made. And spoiler alert, obviously, they did really well as well. And I think from a captaincy point of view, I was thinking about Salah captaincy all week pretty much, and it's a weird thing to do, like captaining Salah versus Man City is not something I would have thought about doing previously, but I ended up doing it and I'm really pleased with that. But Palmer did really well, Saka did even better, so both Palmer and Saka would have been great captaincy options as well. And I think when I had a look at my live FPL to have a look at if I changed my captaincy, what would the difference have been? It's one of those things like, do you really want to do that? Do you not want to do that? Yeah, look, I ended up doing that. It wasn't that bad. So Palmer being so highly owned wouldn't have made much of a difference if I captained him. And given that Saka was a little bit lower owned, if anything, I probably would have been 2.5k or something like that. But look, I'm really happy with where my season is going. I finished on 83 points in game week 13. The safety score was also 83 points, which was surprisingly high for around my rank. I don't know. I'm not sure how high it's supposed to be, but it just goes to show how template perhaps my team is now, and how high the safety score was as a consequence as well. So no gained points this time round after having big chunk of gains points in game week 12, but really happy with where I sort of finished. So as I mentioned, 83 points going ending game week 13 with a rank of 3,103. So what you see on the screen there is slightly different. I did another refresh before So I had refreshed and captured the screenshots before I did another refresh, and then there was a slight difference there of about, 9 points or so. So it's not much. 9 places even. But a gained rank of about 283 places. And I guess the higher up you go, the gains and the rank changes are not so drastic as well. So yeah, change of about 8.38, percent. Really happy with that. Can't really complain. I was previously 3,377. So to end up where I am is really, really good. In terms of how my team did in general, so I had Flecken in goal, who got a measly 2 points, but off the back of a clean sheet. I don't mind that. I'm not sure what I was expecting from Flecken. But my other option was Fabianski, who got a -1. So yeah, I'll take Flecken's 2 points any day. Gabriel got me 9 points, goal and assist. Fantastic. They didn't keep a clean sheet. That would have been a huge score for Gabriel if he did keep a clean sheet there. 8 Nori got me a measly 0 points as well, which in hindsight I would have played Lewis, who got me 1 point. On the bench there, though, unfortunately. Robinson got me 2 points. And actually, I think I posted up on Blue Sky and on X that, I've given up on my defence a bit. And this is basically why, because clean sheets are hard to come by and attacking returns seem to be quite a challenge as well. So, yeah, I've definitely got to fix up my defence, and I'll talk about a little bit of that going into my game week 14 and a bit of 15 transfer thoughts and plans as well. Brian Mbumo, the man on my thumbnail, got me 2 points, and he's been pretty crap with the returns in the last sort of 4 to 5 game weeks or so. Obviously, Wissa is back, and Sade got probably the most amount. I mean, he got a hat trick, so he got the most points from that Brentford side over the weekend. But yeah, not happy with Brian Mbumo's returns. And yeah, I mean, he's so highly owned though. He's 85% owned around me, and so yeah, it's a tricky one, because taking him out does mean that those that are holding, I mean, I imagine that he'll drop in price, and also his effective ownership will drop as well, but that's still a highly owned player that I'd be thinking about removing. So yeah, I'll chat about that a little bit more as well. Mo Salah got me 26 points as my captaincy, but check this out. This man, Saka, Starboy Saka, got 18 points. And if I had captain Saka, as I mentioned, I probably would have been about 2.5k. But you know what? No regrets whatsoever. Salah was just great. Like, it could have been so much more as well. Salah missed a couple of sitters as well. And I think we all sort of held our breath when he was taking a penalty as well, but never a doubt he was going to smash that in. So yeah, really, really, really happy with that. But Saka, just, I'm so happy with that transfer in. Could have been a captaincy option, but can't complain going into the next couple of game weeks as well. Will he be the most transferred in curse though? I think so. FPL planner, over here in Australia, does this post every week about the most transferred in curse, and last couple of game weeks there's been the most transferred in curse and the blank. So João Pedro, for instance, who got only 2 points, but this week it seems like Saka is probably going to be the most transferred in. So does that mean against United he's going to blank? Let's see. Like, he just looks so good though at the moment. Palmer finally got some returns as well. I brought Palmer in the week before, going into game week 12. And so, yeah, really happy that Palmer got me some returns. Didn't get me the instant returns, but yeah, it's okay. Got 14 points from Palmer. Jackson, who was a bit of a differential for me this week actually. So only 22% around me owned, got me 6 points, which made a huge difference. And then both João Pedro and Cunha just getting 2 points each. And on my bench I had Fabianski with the -1, Rogers 2 points, Lewis with 1 point, and Greaves with 0 points. So not much to add there. And look, these were some of my thoughts, I guess, going into looking like, so after some of the matches, and I just tend to jot down some post-it notes around what my early thoughts are and thinking. So as you can see here, I had do I Mbumo out, and then I had 2 arrows, one going up, one going down, which says not an urgent transfer, which it isn't, but also the options are, do I bring in a Mitoma, Madison, Bowen, Kudus? These are all options, and my defense also needs work, so there are a couple of options there for me as well. Like, do I bring in in a Kirkes, for example, with some of the Bournemouth's fixture run that they have, a decent fixture run that they have. Do I bring in Colwill? Again, Chelsea have a good fixture run as well. So, that's an option too. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking at the moment. Or do I just roll? Like, do I just roll the transfer and have two going into game week 15, which is kind of my preference at the moment. But just to wrap up my game week 13 review as well. So as you can see, my transfers in got me a plus 21 points. That's the first time this season where my transfers have instantly given me points, like a gains. So I'm really pleased about that. I think I mentioned this in my stream last week for as we were heading into game week 13, that my transfers generally have not gone well with immediately. It's usually the week after or 2 weeks after or something where the transfers have got me some returns there. Saka, absolutely my star, a hat-trick of assists. He's just looking so good. I mean, even with a yellow card, he got 3 bonus points and 18 points. So yeah, really pleased with that. And of course, my transfer out was Haaland. So this was when I was looking at my the threats to my team. So there were quite a few threats to my team. So Bruno being one of them, Chris Wood being another. But it was really interesting to see that Wissa, whose ownership around me was about 17.36%. Haaland's effective ownership around me was 16.27%, which is really low. I've not seen it that low before. So yeah, really interesting to see that. But look, I'm happy with the transfer out for the moment. So long as Haaland's not returning, I'm happy, right? But it's not going to take much for Haaland to start returning, and all of a sudden that's going to be painful as well. So I haven't really seen how many transfers out have been, how many transfers, what the percentages of the transfers out for Haaland or the number. But I imagine it would be significantly high, given he's been sort of, he's been consistently blanking as well. So there you have it, Game Week 13 transfer plan. Review. And before I go into my transfer plans and thoughts, we'll have a look at the fixtures that are coming up as well. So love looking at Lego Mane's fixture ticker. And this particular fixture ticker obviously has the European fixtures and Champions League matches in between as well. And based on like my previous streams, if you tuned in previously, I only like planning 2 to 3 game weeks ahead, not too far ahead, especially this season. I feel like with the transfers that we can roll and I guess like the curveballs that the matches have given us as well, like with the transfer, not just our transfers that we're making, but the way the players are playing, the teams, and the goals that are being scored, the lack of penalties, and then a whole heap of penalties as well. I feel like thinking more than 3 weeks ahead just doesn't seem worth it. So yeah, so I'm only thinking 3 game weeks, maybe 4th game week or so with my transfers at the moment. So for game week 14, my original plan was just to roll, but I have been thinking about, do I take Mbumo out and bring in perhaps some of the players that I just mentioned? So is it a Bowen? Because, West Ham have some really good fixtures coming up, but West Ham as a team have not necessarily been playing well together as a team. So they've got Leicester away, then they've got Wolves at home, Bournemouth away, and Brighton at home. Up to game week 17. So yeah, it's definitely an option, like bringing Bowen in, and Kudus is someone that's been on my mind as well and probably going under the radar at the moment as well. So that's a little bit of what I'm thinking there. Also Brighton. So Brighton do have Fulham away, which I think is a little bit more difficult fixture than what it suggests in this fixture ticker, where it's green at the moment. I think it's a bit more difficult because Fulham have been really good defensively, and at Craven Cottage they are a lot better as well. They've then got Leicester away as well, so they've got 2 away fixtures. So from that point of view, yeah, the Leicester away fixture could be good. But yeah, I'm no urgency with bringing in another Brighton player. But I would be thinking about someone like Matoma, given how highly owned I imagine João Pedro is going to be. Having an extra attacking player from Brighton would be useful, as would defensively as well. But I'm not really interested in fixing up my defence just yet, because I'm not too sure who I want to bring in as well. So other options, Bournemouth. So Bournemouth have got Tottenham. Semenyo is a really good pick pick still. I feel they've got some really good fixtures coming up after that. So they've got Ipswich, West Ham, United, Palace, Fulham, Everton, So I think there's some good fixtures there to then, have a good benching headache, I imagine, because I've got Rodgers in my team as well. But yeah, I think I'll skip Bournemouth for the time being is what I'm thinking. But yeah, so the plan at the moment was to roll. So just looking at some of the games that are coming up, the matches that are kicking off. So in terms of the significant ones, or at least the ones that I want to watch, will probably be the Liverpool Newcastle fixture. I think that one could be a little bit cagey. I know West Ham shipped 2 goals against Newcastle at their ground at St James's Park. So there's a possibility that they'll do really well or they'll do terribly. So at the moment, I feel like they'll probably do terribly because Liverpool are looking so good. So I'm going to try and watch some of that match. Interestingly, I'm making a day trip for work. So I'll probably be driving when I'm watching to that match. On a very boring drive, I imagine, as well. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. But I'm also looking forward to the Arsenal United match as well. I think Arsenal are just looking really good, and obviously I've brought in Saka. It looks like their clean sheet odds are really high, so 40% clean sheet odds as well. So I think from that point of view, I'm expecting Saka to get some returns, or it will be the most transferred in curse and he won't get any returns. Let's see. But I've got Gabriel in the team, and hopefully he's doing okay as well. He did go off at halftime, so fingers crossed he's doing okay. The other fixture where I have very few players or none, I might be playing Lewis though, is the City versus Forest fixture. There's a 46% chance of a clean sheet there. I'm not sure about that. I know it's a home fixture for City, but Chris Wood's been scoring goals, and Forest are looking really good. I don't think we should underestimate them. So yeah, I'm a little bit nervous about it though as well, because they have been conceding goals, but they've also been looking good defensively. So not having Haaland in this match does make me a little bit nervous. But again, it's one of those periods in my season where I'm happy to get rid of Haaland and just hide behind the couch for this one. We'll see. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. But the other fixture, I guess, where most managers will be thinking about replacing Bryan Mbeumo in their side would be maybe bringing in Bowen. I think it is a very popular pick against Leicester, whilst West Ham are away to Leicester. I think Bowen even. Bowen is a really good pick to replace Bryan Mbeumo. So yeah, we'll see what I do with my transfers a bit more closer to deadline. But at the moment, I'm definitely thinking about rolling. But aside from that, I think the only other fixture that I'm really excited about is the Southampton-Chelsea fixture, given how many players are out from Southampton. And, this particular graphic from Rob T FPL, with the data around projected goals and clean sheet odds, has Cole Palmer on there. And he's definitely in my sort of captaincy, or my first option as a captaincy pick this game week. And so, at the moment, it looks like 36, clean sheet points. 36% clean sheet is what is predicted for Chelsea versus Southampton, and goals of up to it says 2.4. So yeah, I reckon there's goals in that, and I've got Jackson and Palmer in my side. So yeah, and Jackson did not pick up a yellow card. So how amazing is that? So no yellow card for Jackson, which means I'm really hoping he starts in this midweek fixture against Southampton, because I think there's going to be plenty of goals in that one. And given Cole Palmer has sprung back into action and started to get returns, I'm really looking forward to having him in my team into this fixture. So let's have a look at what I'm thinking and why I'm thinking some of the things that I'm thinking. So I did post a message on the socials saying how my team is looking pretty template at the moment. And this seems to be, so Bryan Mbeumo, Mo Salah, Saka and Palmer seem to be the template picks in the midfield for most teams at the moment. And you can see, in terms of effective ownership near me, Mbeumo is about 86%, and Salah was very highly owned from a captaincy point of view, 153%, and so that's still very high around me. And then Saka, 63%, which is very high as well, given that I just brought him back in. I was surprised to see how high he already was. around that sort of, top 4K, top 5K mark. And Palmer 96%. So I'm not really getting much, gains in the midfield that I have. And I've got Rodgers, who's also very highly owned as well. So yeah, I guess like from a template point of view, it feels like my team has caught up with, or the other way around, the template's caught up with my team. I'm not sure. Whichever way we want to look at it, I feel like I've got a very template team, so I'm not keen to continue having some of these. Obviously the three that I've got in my team, so Salah, Saka, Palmer, they are not going to go anywhere for a while, which means Rodgers and Mbeumo are probably going to be the players that I'm going to be playing with, I guess, like in terms of rotating in and out. So if I talk about my Gameweek 14 bus team, so this is what I'm thinking at the moment and very likely to move forward with as well. So I would have Fabianski in goal. I would have Gabriel, Aït-Nouri and Lewis in my defensive lineup. I would then have, I'll then play Brian Mbeumo, Palmer, Saka and Salah in my midfield, and with my captaincy on Palmer at the moment, I would then have Jackson, João Pedro and Cunha playing up front. And on my bench, I would have Flecken, who's against Villa, and Rodgers against Brentford, Robinson on the bench as well, and Greaves, who's just not getting the minutes at the moment. What this basically means is I would have 2 free transfers going into Game Week 15 and the flexibility to work out exactly which midfielder I want to bring in. So if I do take out Brian Mbeumo, it means that I've got the flexibility of maybe going for a Mitoma, having that extra, Brighton attack. But also making 2 defensive transfers as well and just keeping Brian Mbeumo. I'm not sure at the moment. And so, what I am a little bit, I guess what I'm leaning towards is if I go for a sub 7 mil midfielder, it means I can bring in Trent for Game Week 15. And that's a really juicy fixture. It's a derby against Everton on the weekend. So whilst it's the first game of the game Week 15, Trent looked amazing against City. And even now, I wish I could go Lewis to Trent right now to play him against, away to Newcastle. But I can't. I am short by like 0.1 mil, which is ridiculous. And so this is where the price increases, the price drops are really important. And so had I sort of, jumped on, I don't know, a couple of price increases or drops earlier on in the season, maybe I would have had enough money to go Trent directly from Lewis. But that's okay. I think what it does, what it gives me is if I go for a less than 7 mil, player, maybe a Mitoma, maybe a Kudos, or, someone else, it just basically means that I have extra money to jump off of Jackson later on if he picks up his yellow card and I want to transfer him out. Or, if I decide I want to come off of Cunha eventually as well. I've been trying to sort of think about my transfers a couple of game weeks ahead. And so, yeah, occasionally I have been making moves, taking players out and bringing players back in as well. Like Havertz, I brought in and out a few times. Same with Trent. I've had Trent... beginning of the season, took him out, brought him in, and so taking him out again. And I took Trent out to bring Salah in, and Salah continued to go on his double-digit haul as well. So now I'm at that point of I've taken Haaland out, but I've carefully got myself into a position where I can bring Trent back in. And so depending on the player that I bring in, I could probably bring Trent back in for Game Week 15 is what I'm thinking at the moment. But it just basically means that I've got a little bit more flexibility. I think it gives me about 1 million. If I go for a Mitoma, for example, I basically have 1 million to spend. If I do bring in Lewis to Trent, I have 1 million to spend either on Jackson upgrade, if need be, Cunha, or elsewhere in my defence as well. Maybe my goalkeeper, maybe bring in, another defensive asset from Arsenal is what I'm thinking at the moment. So look, that's where I'm at with my thoughts. So like I mentioned, a very quick video and a very quick podcast, even for those of you that are listening via podcast. Thank you for tuning in. I really do appreciate it. Let me know what you're thinking. What are you thinking about your captaincy as well? Palmer, are you on Palmer? Are you on Saka? Are you on Salah? Are you on Haaland even? There's a lot of managers out there still on Haaland, and it is a good fixture for them. It's a home fixture against Forest as well. So let me know what you're thinking about your transfers, or if you have any questions as as well, I'll hopefully have a little bit of time to just kind of catch up on the questions. If you have them, let me know, and happy to sort of chime in and provide some advice if I can, or suggestions if I can. But let me know what you think about my transfer thoughts or no transfer thoughts, and just rolling the transfer and playing Brian Mbeumo. I do feel like I should play Rodgers, just because Brentford have been defensively weaker through the middle. And so, yeah, having Mbeumo play over Rodgers might not be a good idea. I'm not sure. Let me know what you think, if I should play Rodgers ahead of Mbeumo or stick with the team that I've got at the moment. Aside from that, please do like and subscribe. Really do appreciate it. This is a very, very short video, very off the cuff, very much a ramble, and I just wanted to share with you what my thoughts are, feelings are going into game week 15. 14 and 15 even. Also, a bit of a mention that I did start a league as well. So the league is called Play Off the Cuff. So yeah, if you play off the cuff a little bit like me, this is the league for you. Come and join the league. I've got it in, on my video as well, just near my my video on the screen. So the code, please do join if you're keen. It's a really competitive league. So Marius Engen, who is top of the league at the moment, with me second at the moment, and Tabian Rohani as well in third place there. Interestingly, all three of us are Liverpool supporters, and Marius is actually, let me just have a quick look. It might not appear up on the screen just because it's cut off a little bit, but he's 563 in the world right now. And so he's doing really well. So it's already become a very competitive league. And it's the same with Tabian as well. He's doing really well. And so if I'm around that 3,103 mark, based on our points, you can work out how well everyone is doing in this league as well. So if you're interested in joining the league, please do join. Would love to have you in there. Anyway, so these are my transfer thoughts, plans, thinking. Let me know what you think. Leave a comment for me. And and I'll catch you hopefully before the Game Week 15 deadline with my transfer plans and thoughts going into Game Week 15. So thanks again. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great game week going into Game Week 14. Good luck. Hope you get green arrows as well.